Hello everybody! A couple years ago I made a video with some general tips about how to write a multi-point of view novel. But now that I've officially finished my first multi-point of view novel, that's right, The Savior's Army is done, guys! Finished! Complete! It seems like a good time to rehash the topic and tell you everything I've learned along the way. A multi-point of view novel refers to a novel that follows more than one character. Examples include A Song of Ice and Fire and Six of Crows. Multi-point of view novels are usually written in first person, third person limited, or third person deep. Ultimately, it means that some chapters follow the experiences of character A, some chapters follow the experiences of character B, and maybe some chapters follow the experiences of character C. These perspectives are typically divided up between chapters, sometimes between scene breaks, although I'd advise that you be careful with that. This topic was requested by one of my patrons over on Patreon, Andy. He wanted to learn more about multi-point of view novels, and I am happy to deliver. If you'd like the chance to have a video dedicated to you, or if you want access to tons of other rewards, check me out on Patreon, it's linked below. Now let's dive into my tips and tricks for writing a multi-point of view novel. Number 1, be picky. This is the #1 mistake writers make when writing multi-point of view novels. Not every character needs a point of view, okay? Be picky about which character gets the microphone. The general rule is that the average novel doesn't need more than 5 points of view, but I personally believe that you usually don't need more than 3 points of view. And these averages vary from genre to genre. For example, if you're writing a romance novel, 9 times out of 10, you only need 2 points of view. The readers only need to follow the romantic leads, so if you're passing the mic off to someone outside of the relationship, readers are gonna wonder what the fuck you're doing. That's not what they're there for. But if you're writing a space opera or an epic fantasy, you might be able to get away with 4 to 5 points of view. But even in these situations, I encourage you, be picky. We can all think of novels that had points of view we didn't give a shit about or we skipped entirely. You don't want to be that author. So before you make this mistake, ask yourself, does this point of view benefit the story? Does the character have a unique and engaging voice? Does their point of view move the plot forward? Can the events they're recounting be explained by another, more engaging character? Answering these questions will help you determine whether or not this character needs a point of view. Number 2, organization is your best friend. The biggest hurdle to writing multiple points of view is confusion. When you switch between points of view, it can be really easy to mix up the voices and especially the timeline. And this is very relevant if you're writing a book that doesn't take place in chronological order. This is when it really helps to be as organized as possible during the planning and outlining phase of your novel, and then you can elaborate on said organization during the writing process. I recommend having a guideline to help you through this process, and you can easily do this through a digital platform like Skrinntle. Speaking of which, a huge thank you to Skrinntle for sponsoring this video. Skrinntle is a web app that combines mind mapping with the power of networked note-taking. It's great for people who are struggling to visualize how their thoughts can connect together, which makes it perfect for organizing and mapping your story concept. You can use it to brainstorm ideas, like in the character creation and character voice phase. You can use it to organize research, for example, the details regarding the world your characters are traveling. You can use it to outline the timeline of your novel and where the different points of view fit within it. You can use it to manage entire projects at a glance, which basically means you can manage your entire book via Skrinntle. It's great for creatives and creators. You can even create public boards to share with your critique partners and beta readers, or you can use it as a professional portfolio. If you're interested in checking out Skrinntle, get 10% off using code Jenna10. This discount is only valid for a limited time, so you gotta use it soon. Definitely check them out. They make organizing your ideas and mapping out your story so much easier. Number 3, be consistent. When you switch from voice to voice, you need to make sure you're being consistent for the voice you're writing. No overlapping, because readers are gonna notice. This can be as simple as the names and titles of characters. In The Savior's Army, Layla and Tobias are traveling alongside Tobias's mother, Yukana. In Tobias's point of view, the narrative and dialogue refer to her as mother or his mother. You know, cause she's his mom. But in Layla's point of view, the dialogue and narrative refer to her as Yukana, because she's not her mom. But it can go far deeper than that. For example, both Layla and Tobias suffer from PTSD, except Layla has CPTSD and Tobias has regular old PTSD. Their triggers are different, their symptoms are different, and their reactions to said symptoms are, you guessed it, different. That means when I shift to Layla's point of view, I need to be damn sure that I'm reflecting her CPTSD correctly, and I'm not resorting to using some of Tobias's symptoms. Again, this is something that can be handled with proper organization, but also understanding your character's various very well can help with this. Number 4, each character needs their own story. If one of the points of view exists solely to reinforce another point of view, then perhaps that character should just be in the supporting cast. You don't need 2 points of view to tell one person's story. That'll make the second character feel two-dimensional and weak. Every point of view character needs their own personal journey, their own goals, their own dilemmas. It is 1000% possible for their goals and journeys to overlap, so long as the characters are staying true to themselves. Now keep in mind there are different types of character arcs. I'm not saying that every single point of view character needs to save the day in some way. Some characters have flat arcs or negative arcs, and that's fine. The point is their story needs to matter on a large scale. If you're not sure if that's the case, compare your character at the start of the novel versus what they're like at the end of the novel. How have they changed? How have they changed the world around them? Or both? This will help you determine whether or not your character has an engaging voice within the content of your plot. And number 5, perspective matters. Sometimes 2 or more point of view characters appear in the same scene together, and it's up to you to choose the point of view that's going to have the most impact. This will vary depending on what you're trying to get across and the tone you're trying to set for the scene. Sometimes this will be easy. For example, in the Savior's Army, there was a scene where, okay, I'm just gonna say it. Cover your ears if you don't want a Savior's Army spoiler, okay? There's a scene where Tobias finger blasts Layla for the first time. It kind of makes sense to write this scene from Layla's point of view since she's the one feeling all the feels. But there will be other scenes where it's not as easy to choose a point of view. And that's when I encourage you to consider what tone you portrayed in the previous chapter and what tone you are trying to portray in this chapter. It's good to switch things up from chapter to chapter, and finding a new point of view that can help you achieve that is a great idea. People also have unique perspectives regarding the same event, so which perspective is the most interesting for you to explore? I have a scene in the Savior's Army that easily could have been told from Tobias or Layla's perspective, but the perspective I chose felt very haunting and poignant, so that's why I went with it. You will probably have to do this a lot as a writer, so again, ask yourself which point of view matters most, and if that doesn't help, study the chapters surrounding the scene and pick a perspective that provides something unique. So that's all I got for you today. If you need help writing your very own novel, check out Shut Up and Write the Book. It is available at all major retailers. If romantasy is more your vibe, check out my dark fantasy romance series, The Savior's Champion and The Savior's Sister, and you want to get on these books right away because The Savior's Army is on its way. They're all links below. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I post new videos on Wednesdays and I host live streams on Mondays, and if you want to be alerted as soon as I upload, ring that bell. Bye!
It's me, Pippa! Have you subscribed to Jenna's channel yet? Oh, you must. It's so much fun. She talks about writing and heroism and romance, and sometimes she says very naughty words, but I rather enjoy it. Subscribe to her channel and ring the bell.